Welcome back everyone. Despite them missing out on Kyrie Irving, there's still a number of trades that could help the Lakers, and many of which will involve trading Russell Westbrook. Even with him being a bit better off the bench for them, they still have not found a way to make him routinely fit on their team, and that really only leaves them with one option, with that being trading him before the February 9th trade deadline. Now it won't be particularly easy, but he is definitely not untradeable. Despite what the media may have you believe, he actually holds some value to the right team, and it really has nothing to do with what he provides on the court. Rather, it has everything to do with his expiring contract. For a rebuilding team looking to offload veteran players, and then get draft compensation in return while doing it, a large, expiring contract like the one owned by Westbrook can be quite valuable. I mean, with a $47 million expiring contract, that could allow a team to offload not only one, but multiple players through a trade, and then for the Lakers, that would be a way for them to improve their depth. On the other hand though, we do need to remember that negotiating with teams can tend to be difficult, and especially when you're the Lakers. With all of that in mind though, I think they will be able to find a mutually beneficial trade involving Westbrook, and perhaps even multiple of them. So in today's video, we're going to go through the best and most realistic trades that would involve moving Westbrook before the trade deadline. Before we do that though, I would genuinely appreciate it if you could take a brief moment to drop a like, subscribe to the channel if you have not already, and hit that notification bell to never miss out when I upload a video. Without further ado though, let's dive right into it. And while I am not ranking these trades in any particular order, trade number 1 will involve the San Antonio Spurs. I'm sure you've heard about this deal before, but it continues to be a viable option for them. San Antonio has 3 quality veteran players to offer, and then over $28 million in cap room to work with. And why is that important? Well, it is because that would allow them to take on a large majority of Westbrook's contract, and without having to match it through a trade. They are the only team that can do that at this point. The Indiana Pacers no longer can after re-signing Miles Turner, and then no other team has significant cap room either. Even though they might not have the flashiest package to offer, each of Doug McDermott, Josh Richardson, and Jakob Poeltl would fill a need for them. McDermott would offer high volume and efficient three-point shooting. Richardson would provide both three-point shooting and wing defense, and then Poeltl could offer rebounding and rim protection. In addition to that, if they only traded for McDermott and Richardson, then they would be able to create a $21 million trade exception, which would theoretically help them make another trade after this one. In my opinion, it would really all come down to price here. Even though the trade could be beneficial, I would not be willing to give up more than one first-round draft pick, and it does not appear that the Lakers would either. But now moving on to trade number 2. And here we have a deal with the Detroit Pistons, which will involve trading Westbrook along with draft compensation for Bojan Bogdanovic, Alec Burks, and Nerlens Noel. One of my favorite potential Westbrook trades. The Lakers could fill a lot of their needs by making this deal. They would get elite three-point shooting and off-ball ability with Bogdanovic, a versatile two-way player with Alec Burks, and then more center depth with Nerlens Noel. The only problem is, the Detroit Pistons do not appear very willing to trade Bojan Bogdanovic anymore, and in order to acquire him, you would likely have to overpay for him. Now, they might be bluffing to try and get more for him, but we won't know that for sure until the trade deadline ends, and that is why I cannot really promote this trade too heavily. I mean, it would really benefit both them and honestly the Pistons too, but they might not be willing to negotiate. And if that is the case, then the Lakers are better off looking elsewhere. But now moving on to trade number 3. And here we have a deal with the Charlotte Hornets. You could really come up with multiple trade offers here, but the popular one tends to include Terry Rozier, Kelly Oubre, and Mason Plumlee. Now, there is a lot of debate about what they are worth, but I for one would not be willing to give up 2 first-round draft picks for them. I mean, they are certainly quality role players, but they are not enough to justify giving up that much. The problem here would be taking on the large, long-term contract of Terry Rozier, and then likely not being able to retain either Kelly Oubre or Mason Plumlee during the offseason. The Charlotte Hornets do own the early bird rights for Kelly Oubre, but with the Lakers no longer projected to have much cap room, they would have a difficult time retaining him. Although, if we are only looking at this trade from a win-now perspective, then you could make an argument that it would help them. Terry Rozier would be a great fit for them at point guard, Kelly Oubre would help their wing depth, and then Mason Plumlee is a very underrated big man. In my opinion though, given the difficulty with either paying or retaining them, they are not worth more than one first-round draft pick, and unless they would be willing to include PJ Washington or Jalen McDaniels, I would not be willing to offer anything more. But now moving on to trade partner number 4, and here we have a deal with the Toronto Raptors, which would involve Westbrook, Damian Jones, and both first-round draft picks being dealt to Toronto, and then Fred VanVleet, Gary Trent Jr., and then either Kem Birch or Chris Boucher being dealt to LA. The main priority here though would be getting Fred VanVleet and Gary Trent Jr., which could potentially be a realistic option. They definitely hold trade value, but the thing that would both help and potentially hurt the team that is trading for them later on is that neither of them are under contract long term. They are both looking for a new deal, and it would likely cost between $20 and $25 million per year to retain Gary Trent Jr., and then roughly $30 million per year to retain Fred VanVleet. And while I would argue they are worth it, we do need to realize the financial risk here. There is no guarantee the Lakers would be able to or would be willing to pay them what they are looking for after this season. However, if we do look beyond that though, they would definitely be great additions. Fred VanVleet would be an outstanding fit for them at point guard, and then Gary Trent Jr. would provide them with some much needed 3-and-D wing depth. I would be all for them making this deal, but it would be a bit difficult to pull off. And with that in mind, now moving on to our 5th and final trade option, which would of course include the Utah Jazz. And if you watch my ideal trade plan video for the Lakers, then you are likely familiar with both this deal and the aforementioned Raptors deal too. A trade with Utah would involve Westbrook, one unprotected first-round draft pick, and then one second-round draft pick for Mike Conley, Malik Beasley, and Jared Vanderbilt. In my opinion, a trade like this one would be perfect for them. The Lakers do not need another star player. What they need is more depth, and specifically with players who would fill their remaining needs. They would definitely be getting that here too. Mike Conley would be an ideal point guard to pair with LeBron and AD. Malik Beasley would be the high-volume, efficient three-point shooter they need, and then Jared Vanderbilt would be a huge addition for them on defense. Not only that though, but being able to save a draft pick here would be crucial. That would allow them to make another trade after this one if they wanted to, or to save that draft pick for later on. Now, it might not include the best collection of overall talent, or include the biggest name players, but I believe it would be the most beneficial trade for them overall. They would not have to worry about retaining them either. All 3 of them are under contract beyond this season, and while that might be a bit of a drawback with Conley if he declines, his contract is only partially guaranteed for next season. No matter what way you want to look at it though, this trade would benefit them from both a short-term and long-term perspective, and it would not involve a lot of risk either. To wrap everything up here though, there are a number of options for the Lakers to trade Westbrook, and while some might be better than others, it's a good thing for them to have options nonetheless. With all of that being said though, what do you guys think? What trade do you believe is the most beneficial from both a short-term and long-term perspective? Let me know your thoughts by commenting down below and we can talk about it there. That will do it for this video though. Big thank you to those of you who took the time to watch until the end of this video, and until the end of all of my videos in general. I really hope you enjoyed it, and if you did, be sure to drop a like on the video, subscribe to the channel if you have not already, and turn on notifications to get notified right away when I drop a new video. But as always, thank you for watching and have a great day.